The United States, the land of dreams, freedom, and flamingo lawn armies. From towns named Intercourse and Boring to laws banning ice cream in back pockets, America is a patchwork of the wonderfully weird. It's a place where corn palaces exist, ghosts have job titles, and you can get arrested for riding a horse too fast while president. This isn't your average civics lesson. It's jaw-dropping, head-scratching, totally real facts that reveal just how bizarre and fascinating the USA really is. Strap in. You're about to fall down the rabbit hole of American oddity. Nestled in Clackamas County, Oregon, there's a little town with a big-name punchline: Boring. Despite its unfortunate moniker, Boring is far from dull. The town proudly embraces its quirky identity, even partnering with dull Scotland and bland Australia to form the League of Extraordinary Communities. A humorous alliance built around shared boring-sounding names. With scenic trails, a charming rural vibe and a tongue-in-cheek sense of humour, Boring has become a beloved stop for travellers chasing oddities. The small town of Rugby, North Dakota, holds a surprisingly massive title: the geographic centre of North America. Marked by a stone cairn surrounded by flags of Canada, the US and Mexico, this unassuming spot symbolises continental unity. Though its accuracy has been debated due to shifts in measurement methods, Rugby proudly displays its title on signs and souvenirs. It's a must-see for geography nerds, curious travellers, and anyone intrigued by symbolic crossroads of a continent. In the heart of Honolulu stands a majestic structure that feels like a portal to another world: Iolani Palace, the only royal palace on US soil. Once home to Hawaii's last reigning monarchs, the palace is a powerful reminder that Hawaii was an independent kingdom before it was annexed by the United States. Lavish koa wood interiors, royal regalia, and haunting history echo through its halls, making it a unique blend of American and Polynesian heritage. You might not expect a sleepy Utah town to be immortalized on Mars, but that's exactly what happened to Milford. This small town lent its name to a crater on the Red Planet, thanks to NASA's tradition of naming Martian features after Earth towns with populations under 100,000. While Milford itself is better known for its mining history and sweeping desert landscapes, its interplanetary namesake has quietly placed it among the stars, quite literally. Point Roberts, Washington, is one of the most geographically peculiar places in the United States. Although it's part of Washington state, you can't reach it from the rest of the US without first crossing into Canada and then back out again. This little exclave sits just below the 49th parallel, making it an American island surrounded by foreign land. The logistical oddity has led to strange customs situations, tight-knit community vibes, and a daily brush with international boundaries. The United States boasts an astonishing 3.5 million miles of roads, enough to circle the Earth nearly 140 times. This massive network spans coast to coast, from twisting mountain passes to laser-straight desert highways. It's a symbol of American freedom and infrastructure, supporting everything from epic cross-country road trips to daily commutes. Whether you're driving Route 66 or a sleepy country backroad, you're part of one of the most extensive road systems ever constructed by human hands. The Great Lakes aren't just big, they're epic. Together, these 5 interconnected freshwater lakes hold 21% of the planet's surface freshwater, making them a global treasure. Spanning across 8 US states and part of Canada, they're vital to shipping, drinking water, and recreation for millions. From the icy depths of Lake Superior to the urban shores of Lake Michigan, these lakes are so vast that they create their own weather systems and are sometimes mistaken for inland seas. Death Valley, California, lives up to its ominous name. It's officially the hottest place on Earth, with temperatures reaching a staggering 134 degrees C, 56.7 degrees C, in 1913. Still the world record. The valley's parched terrain, salt flats, and desolate beauty attract both heat-chasing tourists and science fiction filmmakers. Yet, despite its extreme conditions, Death Valley is full of life. From blooming wildflowers to desert-adapted animals, it's a surreal, sun-scorched marvel where Earth flirts with the limits of habitability. Alaska's wild vastness is not just about mountains and snow. It also has more coastline than the rest of the United States combined. Stretching over 33,000 miles, Alaska's shoreline snakes around islands, fjords, and rugged peninsulas. That's more than the coastlines of all other 49 states put together, with glacial bays, remote fishing villages, and untouched wilderness hugging its edges. Alaska's coastal sprawl is a testament to its untamed scale and unique place in America's geography. There's only one spot in the United States where you can stand in 4 states at once, and that's the Four Corners Monument. Located in a remote desert region, this landmark marks the exact point where Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, and Colorado meet. Visitors often pose with limbs stretched into different states, while vendors nearby sell Native American crafts. Though the actual coordinates are debated by a few, the site remains a quirky bucket list stop for geography lovers. In the turquoise waters of Florida's lagoon at the Underwater Hotel in Key Largo lies an incredibly rare postal attraction, an official underwater post office. Built as part of an underwater habitat called Jules Under Lodge, this submerged mailbox is serviced by scuba diving mail carriers. Visitors can send waterproof postcards that are officially postmarked underwater. It's a novelty experience that blends tourism, marine exploration, and postal history in one surreal, saltwater-drenched destination. The Liberty Bell, one of the most iconic symbols of American independence, has a flaw beyond its famous crack. Pennsylvania is spelled incorrectly. The bell bears the inscription Pennsylvania. A historically accepted variation of the time, spelling wasn't standardized in the 18th century, and such variations were common. While the typo might raise eyebrows today, it adds another layer of charming imperfection to the already legendary artifact that has come to represent liberty, resilience, and revolution. Towering 630 feet above the Mississippi River, the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, Missouri holds the title of the tallest man-made monument in the United States. Shaped like a giant stainless steel rainbow, this sleek structure commemorates America's westward expansion. Completed in 1965, it's not just tall, it's an engineering marvel. Visitors can ride a unique tram system inside the arch to a viewing deck at the top, offering panoramic views and a literal high point of American ingenuity. Lake Superior is more than just one of the Great Lakes. It's a colossal freshwater reservoir with the power to awe. So massive is this lake that if you poured all its water evenly across both North and South America, it would cover the continents in a foot of water. With depths reaching over 1,300 feet and waves that can rival those of the ocean, Lake Superior commands respect as one of the mightiest freshwater bodies on Earth. Off the northern tip of Michigan's Lower Peninsula lies a place frozen in time, the Mackinac Island. Accessible only by ferry, plane, or snowmobile, depending on the season, this quaint island bans all motor vehicles. Visitors traverse its charming streets via horse-drawn carriages and bicycles. Famous for its Victorian architecture, lilac festivals, and world-renowned fudge, Mackinac Island offers a rare glimpse into a quieter, bygone era. One where the clip-clop of hooves replaces the buzz of traffic. The United States Constitution holds the unique distinction of being the oldest written national constitution still in use today. Drafted in 1787 and ratified in 1788, it has served as the foundational framework of American government for over 2 centuries. While other countries have revised or replaced their constitutions, the US document endures, albeit with 27A amendments to adapt to the times. Its longevity is a testament to its careful construction, balancing liberty, federalism, and the evolving ideals of a diverse and democratic nation. Despite being the very first president of the United States, George Washington never lived in the White House. When he became president in 1789, the capital was temporarily located in New York City and later Philadelphia. By the time construction on the White House was completed in 1800, Washington had already passed away. It was John Adams, the second president, who first moved in, making Washington the only US president who never lived in the iconic presidential residence. The American flag has gone through 27 official versions since the birth of the United States. Each version corresponds to the admission of new states, altering the number of stars in the blue field while retaining the 13 stripes representing the original colonies. From the original 13-star flag to the current 50-star version, each iteration tells a story of expansion and evolving identity. The flag is more than a symbol, it's a living timeline of American growth. Believe it or not, the Statue of Liberty was originally conceived for a very different part of the world. French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi initially designed the statue as a lighthouse at the entrance to Egypt's Suez Canal. The project never materialized due to funding issues, but the idea lived on. Eventually, Bartholdi repurposed the concept into what would become the Statue of Liberty, gifted to the United States as a symbol of freedom and friendship in 1886. In a bizarre twist of presidential history, Ulysses S. Grant became the first and only sitting US president to be arrested, albeit for a relatively mild offense. In 1872, Grant was stopped in Washington, D.C. for speeding through the city on his horse-drawn carriage. A local police officer, unaware of how to handle arresting a president, reportedly issued a fine, which Grant graciously paid. The incident shows even presidents weren't above the law, even when riding a horse. During the Cold War, paranoia and imagination ran wild, including one particularly extreme idea: nuking the moon. In a top-secret project known as a 119, the US Air Force considered detonating a nuclear bomb on the lunar surface. The objective was largely symbolic, to show off American military might and scientific prowess in response to the Soviet Union's space advances. The plan was ultimately abandoned, but the fact it was ever considered reveals just how tense and surreal the Cold War really was. The Pentagon, America's military nerve center, has twice the number of bathrooms it actually needs, and the reason is rooted in an ugly chapter of US history. When construction began in the early 1940s, Virginia's segregation laws required separate restrooms for black and white employees. Although President Roosevelt banned racial segregation in federal buildings before it was completed, the original plans were never revised. As a result, the Pentagon ended up with over 280 bathrooms, far more than a building of its kind would normally require. It sounds like a poetic coincidence, but it's absolutely true. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, two founding fathers and political rivals turned pen pals, died on the same day, July 4, 1826. Even more astonishing, that day marked the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, a document both men helped shape. Adams's last words were reportedly, "Thomas Jefferson survives," unaware that Jefferson had passed away just hours earlier. Their intertwined legacies and synchronized deaths remain one of history's most poignant moments. Beneath the luxurious Greenbrier Hotel in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, lies one of the best-kept secrets of the Cold War era. A massive underground nuclear bunker built to house members of Congress in case of a catastrophic attack. Constructed in the 1950s and maintained in secrecy for decades, the bunker was fully equipped with dormitories, medical rooms, and communication systems. It was decommissioned after its existence was exposed by a journalist in 1992, but today, visitors can tour this fascinating relic of Cold War paranoia. Ohio is widely regarded as one of the original US states, but technically it didn't become official until 1953. Over 150 years after it declared statehood. The oversight? Congress never formally ratified Ohio's state constitution. It functioned as a state in practice, but the paperwork was never properly filed. The error wasn't discovered until the mid-20th century, at which point Congress quietly corrected the mistake with it was a clerical error of historic proportions. Americans have an insatiable appetite for pizza, so much so that they consume over 3 billion pies each year. That's nearly 100 slices per second, day in and day out. Whether it's a quick bite after work, a game day essential, or a Friday night tradition, pizza is deeply embedded in American food culture. With endless variations, deep dish, thin crust, stuffed, vegan background, and geography across the United States. Though it's one of the most iconic shopping centers in America, the Mall of America is actually owned by Canadians. Located in Bloomington, Minnesota, this colossal retail and entertainment complex attracts millions of visitors each year. But behind the flashy roller coasters and endless shops is 555 Group, a Canadian company that also owns West Edmonton Mall. It's a fun twist in international economics. Canada owns one of America's biggest monuments to consumer culture. In Kentucky, a strange old law still lingers on the books. It's illegal to carry ice cream in your back pocket. While it sounds absurd, the law actually dates back to the days of horse theft. Clever criminals would lure horses away by putting ice cream in their pockets. No ropes or reins, just a sweet trail for the animal to follow. Since technically the horse wasn't taken by force, the law tried to close that peculiar loophole. Imagine this. 100 acres of pizza consumed by Americans every single day. That's enough to cover 75 football fields in gooey cheese and pepperoni. Whether eaten at home, in restaurants, or on the go, pizza's sheer popularity turns it into a daily nationwide event. Its speed, customizability, and deliciousness explain why it's not just dinner, it's a cultural phenomenon. Americans' love for pizza isn't just strong, it's an edible empire. In the vast plains of Nebraska lies Manawi, a town with a population of just one. That one person, Elsie Eiler, not only lives there, she also serves as the mayor, librarian and bartender of the town's sole tavern. Every year she even submits municipal budgets to maintain Manawi's official status. This ghost town turned quirky living exhibit draws curious tourists from all over, eager to witness the only incorporated town in America with a single resident. If ghosts had a favorite vacation spot, it might just be the United States. With its rich and often violent history, sprawling urban legends, and fascination with the supernatural, the US is home to more haunted houses than any other country. From colonial mansions with tragic pasts to creepy asylum-themed attractions, Americans don't just tolerate the spooky, they monetize it. Each October, these haunted dwellings attract millions of thrill-seekers, blending horror with tourism in a uniquely American tradition. Americans really love their pets, so much so that they spend more money on them annually than on jewelry. From gourmet pet food and designer outfits to luxury boarding and acupuncture sessions, the pet care industry in the US has become a booming multi-billion-dollar market. Dogs, cats, and even exotic animals are pampered like royalty, and the bond between humans and their furry companions often translates into spending that rivals, and even surpasses, that of romantic gift-giving. Ever wanted to say you own land in Texas? For under $2 you actually can, sort of. Numerous online novelty retailers sell 1 square foot plots of Texas desert as gag gifts or conversation starters. While these micro plots aren't legally buildable or always officially registered, they come with fake deeds and titles that make great stocking stuffers or prank presents. It's a quirky slice of the American dream, owning land in the Lone Star State, even if it's the size of a pizza slice. In a plot twist that surprises many, more Americans visit libraries each year than go to the movies. Despite the digital age, public libraries remain cultural lifelines, offering not only books but internet access, job search help, language classes, and community events. They serve as essential public spaces where people of all backgrounds gather to learn, connect, or just find peace and quiet. Libraries are thriving hubs of democracy in action, quietly outpacing Hollywood in foot traffic. The most popular item at Walmart isn't electronics or clothing, it's bananas. With over 200 million bananas sold every year, this humble fruit reigns supreme in the world's largest retail chain. Affordable, portable, and packed with potassium, bananas tick all the boxes for busy shoppers looking for a quick snack. It's a testament to how the simplest products often win out in a sea of flashy consumer choices, and proves that in America sometimes the fruit bowl beats the impulse aisle. Despite being one of the most prosperous nations on Earth, the United States throws away an estimated 25% of its food each year. That's tens of millions of tons, much of it still edible, ending up in landfills instead of on plates. From farms and restaurants to grocery stores and homes, the waste is staggering. Meanwhile, food insecurity affects millions. The contradiction highlights not just environmental issues, but deep inefficiencies and inequalities embedded in the American food system. There are more self-destined facilities in the United States than there are McDonald's restaurants, and that's saying something. With over 50,000 facilities nationwide, self-destined has become a booming industry driven by consumerism, downsizing, and our attachment to stuff. Whether it's seasonal decorations, old furniture, or forgotten treasures, Americans are more likely to stash things away than throw them out. The rise of storage culture says as much about our habits as it does our square footage. Over a typical American lifetime, the average person consumes enough pizza to cover 18 acres of land. That's nearly 14 football fields of cheesy, saucy, crusty goodness. It's not just a love affair. It is a full-on commitment. Whether it's college students surviving finals, families celebrating birthdays, or couples on casual date nights, pizza is a permanent fixture in American life. From delivery boxes to frozen aisle staples, it's the unofficial food of the American experience. Arizona has a law so strange it sounds made up. It's illegal for a donkey to sleep in a bathtub. The law stems from a bizarre real-life event in the 1920s when a donkey in Kingman, Arizona, fell asleep in a bathtub that was then swept away during a flash flood. After an exhaustive rescue effort, lawmakers decided it was best to preemptively outlaw such odd situations. It's a classic example of legislation born from one unforgettable incident. Deep in Corker City, Kansas, you'll find a marvel of the mundane. The world's largest ball of twine. What began as a humble hobby in the 1950s has grown into a town-wide tradition, with visitors and residents regularly contributing more twine to this ever-growing behemoth. Weighing over 20,000 pounds and stretching for miles if unravelled, the ball isn't just a roadside attraction, it's a symbol of community pride, eccentric creativity, and America's love of the wonderfully weird. Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, holds the historic honor of being the world's first national park. Stretching across parts of Wyoming, Montana, and Idaho, it covers over 2 million acres of breathtaking wilderness. Home to geysers like Old Faithful, vast forests, canyons, and incredible wildlife, Yellowstone set the precedent for conservation movements worldwide. It was the first time land was set aside purely to preserve its natural beauty for public enjoyment, an idea that reshaped global thinking about nature and preservation. When it comes to tornadoes, no country comes close to the United States. With over 1,000 tornadoes touching down each year, the US tops the global charts, thanks in large part to its geography. The infamous Tornado Alley, spanning states like Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas, sits where cold, dry air from this meteorological mashup creates the perfect breeding ground for nature's most unpredictable and violent storms, giving the US a dramatic and dangerous weather claim to fame. If thunder were music, Florida would be the rock concert capital of the United States. Known as the lightning capital of the country, Florida experiences more lightning strikes annually than any other state. This is particularly intense during the humid summer months, when the atmosphere becomes an electrified battleground. Cities like Tampa and Orlando regularly experience thousands of strikes each year. The state's unique combination of ocean air, flat terrain, and tropical moisture makes it a literal hotpot for electrical storms. In the bayous and marshlands of southern Louisiana, it's not uncommon to encounter more alligators than human residents. With an estimated 2 million gators roaming the state's swamps, they often outnumber people in the most remote parishes. These prehistoric reptiles are such a staple of the region that they influence culture, cuisine, and even tourism. Whether sunning on riverbanks or lurking beneath murky waters, alligators are not just wildlife, they're part of everyday life in the Louisiana wild. The majestic saguaro cactus, those tall, iconic, arm-stretching sentinels of the desert, grow naturally only in one place on Earth, the Sonoran Desert. Spanning parts of Arizona, California, and Mexico, this desert provides the precise conditions needed for saguaros to thrive, including hot summers, mild winters, and just the right amount of rainfall. These slow-growing giants can live for over 150 years and grow up to 40 feet tall. They're not just plants, they're living monuments of the American Southwest. Montana may be known as Big Sky Country, but it could also be dubbed Cow Country. The state is home to over 2.5 million cattle, more than 3 times its human population of around 1 million. Vast open ranges and an agricultural heritage make Montana a cattle rancher's dream. This cow-to-human ratio gives the state a rustic charm, where beef production isn't just a business, it's a way of life. In many areas, cows are the true rulers of the land. While it might sound like a joke, owning a kangaroo is actually legal in some parts of the United States. States like Wisconsin, South Carolina, and West Virginia have no laws prohibiting kangaroo ownership, meaning you could, at least technically, have a marsupial roommate. Some states require permits and others ban exotic pets entirely. But in the right zip code, owning a kangaroo is not only possible, it's legal. Just be ready for hopping, high-energy chaos in your backyard. The United States is home to a staggering array of natural wonders, with 59 designated national parks and over 400 protected sites under the National Park Service. These areas span everything from deserts and glaciers to coral reefs and volcanic craters. Whether it's the grandeur of the Grand Canyon, the biodiversity of the Everglades, or the pristine wilderness of Glacier Bay, the US park system offers something for every nature lover. It's a living showcase of America's environmental diversity and dedication to preservation. Winding over 2,000 miles through the eastern United States, the Appalachian Trail is one of the longest and most iconic hiking paths in the world. Stretching from Springer Mountain in Georgia to Mount Katahdin in Maine, this trail traverses forests, mountains, and valleys, offering a grueling yet breathtaking journey. Hikers come from all over the world to tackle its rugged terrain, often taking 5 to 7 months to complete the full route. It's a path that challenges the body, clears the mind, and stirs the soul. Alaska is a land of rivers, more than 3,000 of them, in fact, many of which remain unnamed and wild. These waterways crisscross the vast and rugged terrain, carving valleys through mountain ranges and emptying into icy seas. Some rivers, like the Yukon and the Kuskokwim, stretch for hundreds of miles and serve as crucial transportation routes in areas without roads. Teeming with salmon, flanked by wilderness, and often completely untouched by human development, Alaska's rivers embody the untamed spirit of the 49th state. Cotton candy, that fluffy, colourful treat that melts like magic on your tongue, was invented in the United States, and it originally went by the whimsical name fairy floss. Surprisingly, it was created in 1897 by a dentist named William Morrison, along with confectioner John C. Wharton. They debuted their sugary invention at the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis, where it was a massive hit. Sold in little boxes for 25 cents, it may seem ironic that a dentist helped invent a sugar cloud. But fairy floss quickly became a carnival and circus staple, and eventually rebranded to the name we all know today, cotton candy. The humble ice cream cone, a now standard companion to America's favourite frozen dessert, exploded in popularity thanks to the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis. Legend has it that an ice cream vendor ran out of bowls, so a nearby waffle seller rolled one of his pastries into a cone shape to help out, and the idea stuck. Whether or not that exact origin story is true, the fair is undeniably where the cone first wowed large crowds. It marked a turning point in dessert delivery, giving rise to the portable, handheld scoop we still love more than a century later. Before it became a fizzy treat found at summer barbecues and soda fountains, root beer had medicinal roots. Literally. The original concoctions were brewed using roots, bark, herbs, and spices thought to have health benefits, and were often used as tonics or cures for digestive issues. Pharmacists in the 19th century sold root beer as a miracle elixir. Over time, especially after the invention of carbonation, it evolved into a sweet, non-alcoholic beverage. Today, while no longer considered a cure-all, root beer still carries a nostalgic flavour of old-time Americana. With more than 20 billion hot dogs consumed each year, Americans have turned this simple food into a national obsession. That averages out to roughly 70 hot dogs per person annually. From summer cookouts and baseball games to roadside stands and 4th of July eating contests, hot dogs are more than just food. They're an institution. Despite being simple, they've sparked fierce debates about toppings, ketchup or no, bun styles, and even etiquette. Still, few things are more quintessentially American than biting into a grilled hot dog on a sunny afternoon. Kool-Aid, the colourful powdered drink that became a household staple, was born in Hastings, Nebraska in 1927. Inventor Edwin Perkins originally sold a liquid version called Fruit Smack, but shipping it was expensive and inconvenient. To solve this, he removed the water content and created a powdered version that could be easily packaged and mixed at home. Kool-Aid quickly became a hit, especially during the Great Depression, due to its low cost. Today, Hastings proudly celebrates its sugary legacy with an annual Kool-Aid Days festival. Complete with games, parades, and plenty of artificially flavoured nostalgia. One of America's most beloved frozen treats, the popsicle, Dot, was accidentally invented by an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson in 1905. On a chilly San Francisco evening, Frank left a cup of powdered soda, water, and a stirring stick on his porch. Overnight, it froze. In the morning, he pulled it out by the stick and discovered the first frozen pop. Years later, he patented his childhood creation under the name Popsicle. What started as a happy accident now sells in the millions every summer, making a sweet mark on snack history. Clarence Birdseye revolutionized how the world eats when he invented the first method for flash freezing food in the 1920s. Living in Labrador, Canada, he noticed how quickly native fishermen froze their catches in the icy air, preserving freshness. Inspired, Birdseye returned to the US and developed machinery that could freeze food so rapidly it retained its texture and flavor. His invention laid the foundation for the frozen food industry, forever changing how people store, ship, and consume meals. Without Birdseye, your freezer aisle wouldn't exist. Bacon isn't just breakfast in America, it's a cultural phenomenon. The average American consumes about 18 pounds of bacon every year, whether it's served beside eggs, crumbled on salads, or even wrapped around other meats. Its crispy, salty, smoky flavor has inspired an entire culinary subculture, from bacon-scented candles to bacon-flavored vodka. In a country obsessed with indulgent flavors, bacon reigns as the undisputed king of cured meats, one sizzle away from a standing ovation. Buffalo wings might be found on menus across the nation, but they trace their roots back to one place: Buffalo, New York. The story goes that in 1964, Teresa Bellissimo at the Anchor Bar whipped up a late-night snack using leftover chicken wings, which were usually considered scrap. She tossed them in hot sauce, served them with blue cheese and celery, and the rest is history. Now, a game day essential, buffalo wings are a testament to how a simple, accidental creation can ignite a nationwide culinary craze. The cheeseburger, that iconic staple of American diners and backyard grills, was reportedly born in Pasadena, California, in the 1920s. Teenager Lionel Sternberger, yes, that was his real name, was working at his father's sandwich shop when he decided to place a slice of cheese on a hamburger. The result was an instant hit. Though many cities have tried to claim the cheeseburger's origin, Pasadena proudly holds onto the title, even celebrating it with plaques and local pride. It's a cheesy origin story in the best possible way. Contrary to what many assume, the United States has no official language at the federal level. While English is undoubtedly the most widely spoken and used language in government and commerce, it has never been formally declared the national language by law. Instead, the US operates on a de facto basis, allowing individual states to make their own language policies. Some have declared English official, while others embrace bilingualism or even multiple recognized languages, reflecting the country's multicultural roots and immigrant-driven history. The word "okay" is one of the most recognized expressions in the English language, and it originated in the United States. It first appeared in print in 1839 in the Boston Morning Post, used as a humorous abbreviation for "Ol correct," a deliberately misspelled version of "Ol correct," part of a trend at the time to use quirky abbreviations. From that playful beginning, O went on to become a global linguistic staple, crossing borders and languages to signify agreement, understanding, and approval around the world. Believe it or not, there are now more Spanish speakers in the United States than there are in Spain. With over 41 million native Spanish speakers and an additional 12 million bilingual speakers, the US has become the second largest Spanish-speaking country in the world, trailing only Mexico. This growth is largely due to immigration, heritage speakers, and the increasing presence of Spanish in education, media, and daily life. From street signs to bilingual packaging, Spanish is an integral part of the American linguistic landscape. The now common internet term unfriend may feel like a modern invention, but its earliest recorded use dates all the way back to 1659 in a US newspaper. Long before Facebook made it a social verb, unfriend was used in colonial literature to describe someone who was no longer a trusted companion or ally. It's a reminder that language constantly evolves, and sometimes old words find new digital lives in the most unexpected ways. In true quirky American fashion, some US states have gone so far as to designate official state crustaceans. Maryland, for example, proudly claims the blue crab as its own. These ceremonial designations celebrate local ecology and cultural identity, often highlighting species that play significant roles in regional cuisine or economy. Whether it's lobsters in Maine, crayfish in Louisiana, or the blue crab of the Chesapeake Bay, these crustaceans are given the kind of official recognition usually reserved for birds, flowers, and flags. The phrase, "the whole 9 yards," has a fascinating military origin, most likely from World War II fighter pilots. Machine gun belts in aircraft were approximately 27 feet long, or 9 yards. When pilots returned to base having fired every last round, they were said to have given the whole 9 yards. Though other theories exist, this one stands out for its vivid imagery and wartime roots. Today, the phrase is used to describe going all in, putting in full effort, leaving nothing behind. Dinosaurs aren't just for museums and kids' books. Many American states have official state dinosaurs selected to reflect unique fossil discoveries or local prehistoric history. For example, Colorado's official dinosaur is the Stegosaurus, while Texas honors the Pleurocaulus. These designations help promote paleontological awareness and connect schoolchildren with the natural history beneath their own feet. It's a delightfully nerdy aspect of state pride that blends science, education, and a dash of prehistoric swagger. Few musical genres are as uniquely American as jazz and blues. Both styles were born out of African American communities in the South, blending elements of African rhythm, European harmony, and field songs of the enslaved. Blues emerged from the Mississippi Delta, echoing sorrow and resilience, while jazz sprang to life in New Orleans, vibrant with improvisation and syncopation. Together, these genres laid the foundation for nearly every major music movement of the 20th century: rock, soul, R&B, and beyond, making them not just musical styles, but foundational American art forms. The first email ever sent in history zipped through cyberspace in 1971, right from the United States. Computer engineer Ray Tomlinson, working on ARPANET, the early version of the Internet, was experimenting with a system to send messages between computers. He chose the @ symbol to separate the user's name from the destination machine. A decision that still shapes email addresses today. The content of that first message? Something forgettable like QWERTY. It was just a test. Still, it marked the birth of digital communication as we now know it. Long before we had Wi-Fi, memes, or Zoom calls, the seeds of the Internet were planted by a Cold War-era US military project called ARPANET. Developed in the late 1960s by the Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, ARPANET was designed to create a decentralized communication network that could survive a nuclear attack. It connected a handful of universities and research centers, allowing computers to exchange data. This military-backed experiment laid the foundation for the global Internet, forever changing how humans communicate, learn, and live. On a chilly morning in 1903 in the windy dunes of Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the Wright brothers made history with the first successful manned airplane flight. Their aircraft, The Wright Flyer stayed in the air for 12 seconds and traveled just 120 feet. But it was enough to prove human flight was possible. With its wooden frame and fabric wings, the humble contraption sparked an age of aviation that would eventually lead to commercial airlines, fighter jets, and space travel. It all started with that brief, miraculous glide. The very first modern credit card was used in New York City in the 1950s, ushering in a new era of American consumer culture. Known as the Diners Club card, it was originally designed for use in restaurants and travel businesses. Instead of cash or checks, customers could now make purchases on credit and pay off their balance later. A radical convenience at the time. The concept quickly caught on, revolutionizing finance and laying the groundwork for the swipe and spend culture we take for granted today. Though we take it for granted today every time we zip up a jacket or bag, the modern zipper has American roots. It was first successfully designed in the early 20th century by Gideon Sundback, a Swedish-American engineer. While earlier prototypes existed, it was Sundback's design in 1913 that made the zipper reliable and easy to manufacture. Originally called the separable fastener, the zipper found early success in boots and tobacco pouches before becoming a wardrobe staple. It's one of those small inventions that quietly reshaped the fabric of daily life. Literally, the microwave oven, that marvel of modern convenience, was actually invented by accident in the United States. In 1945, engineer Percy Spencer was working with radar technology when he noticed a candy bar in his pocket had melted. Curious, he aimed the radar waves at popcorn and watched it pop. This discovery led to the first microwave oven, which at the time was the size of a refrigerator and mostly used in commercial kitchens. Today, it's a countertop essential, all thanks to one man's unexpected snack mishap. Bubble wrap, now beloved for both packing and popping, was originally invented in 1957 for a very different purpose: wallpaper. Engineers Mark Chavans and Al Fielding envisioned it as textured, modern wall decor made from sealed layers of plastic. The concept didn't catch on for home interiors, but its shock-absorbing qualities found new life in packaging. Now, millions of rolls are used every year to protect products and soothe anxious fingers. It's one of the happiest product failures in history. The first product ever scanned with a barcode wasn't a tech gadget or a luxury item. It was a humble pack of Wrigley's Juicy Fruit gum. On June 26, 1974, in a grocery store in Troy, Ohio, the laser scanner beeped for the first time, marking a revolution in retail. The barcode system, developed in the US, drastically changed how items are tracked, stocked, and sold across the globe. That little pack of gum now sits in the Smithsonian as a quiet tribute to the dawn of modern inventory systems. The world's first working escalator was installed in Coney Island, New York, in 1896. Designed by Jesse W. Reno, it was a short incline ride powered by a conveyor belt with cleated steps. The original escalator wasn't installed in a department store, it was actually a novelty ride at an amusement park. Passengers paid to experience this strange new moving staircase, which quickly caught on in practical applications. Today, escalators are essential in malls, airports, and subways, but it all began as a quirky ride on the Coney Island boardwalk. The artificial heart, one of modern medicine's most groundbreaking innovations, was developed in Utah. In 1982, Dr. Barney Clark became the first human to receive a permanent total artificial heart, known as the Jarvik 7, at the University of Utah Hospital. While the device was controversial and had limitations, it extended Clark's life for 112 days and paved the way for future developments in cardiac technology. Utah may be better known for mountains and national parks, but it also played a critical role in rewriting what's possible in life-saving science. Only in Texas could a law blend comedy, controversy, and confusion into one wildly specific restriction: it's illegal to own more than 6 dildos. That's right, under an obscure section of the state's obscenity laws, owning more than half a dozen obscene devices can technically be considered intent to distribute, which is a criminal offense. Though rarely enforced and widely mocked, the law has sparked debates over privacy and personal rights. It remains a classic example of how morality, legality, and absurdity often intersect in state legislatures. In Alabama, there's a law that makes it illegal to wear a fake mustache in church if it causes laughter. This oddly specific regulation likely arose in an era when public decorum and religious solemnity were considered sacred, and anything that caused disruption, or even a well-timed fake mustache, was frowned upon. While it sounds like something out of a comedy sketch, the law is real, and it's one of many curious remnants of old Southern sensibilities that still linger in state law books. While flamethrowers might seem like weapons reserved for war movies or post-apocalyptic fantasies, owning one is actually legal in 48 US states. Only Maryland and California ban them outright. That means in most parts of the country you can legally buy and use a personal flamethrower, no license or permit required. Originally designed for agricultural and industrial uses, these devices have since gained a cult following among survivalists, YouTubers, and pyromaniacs alike. Welcome to America, where firepower sometimes includes actual fire. In 1943, during the height of World War II, the US government shocked the nation by banning sliced bread. The idea behind the ban was to conserve materials like wax paper, which was used to package pre-sliced loaves. But the move sparked nationwide outrage. People had grown accustomed to the convenience of sliced bread, so much so that the phrase, "best thing since sliced bread," became a permanent fixture in the American lexicon. The ban lasted less than 2 months before public pressure forced a reversal. In California, whistling for a lost canary before 7 a.m. is technically illegal in some municipalities. While the law sounds utterly ridiculous today, it likely stems from early noise ordinances aimed at keeping neighborhoods quiet in the early morning hours. Birds, after all, can be noisy, and so can the people trying to find them. Like many hyper-specific local laws, this one remains on the books more as a curiosity than an enforceable rule. Still, if your canary escapes, maybe hold off on the whistling until breakfast time. Florida is home to some of the nation's strangest laws, but one of the most eyebrow-raising is this. Unmarried women who parachute on Sundays can, in theory, be jailed. This archaic law likely originated from outdated views on public morality and women's roles, especially on the Sabbath. While it's not enforced today, it still exists in legal archives and often appears on lists of bizarre US laws. It's a perfect example of how legal codes sometimes preserve the social norms of centuries past. Yes, the IRS has guidelines for taxing illegal income. According to the IRS publication for individual taxpayers, any money earned, whether it comes from wages, tips, or unlawful activity, must be reported on your tax return. That means if you're a drug dealer, thief, or scam artist, the government still wants its cut. Al Capone famously went to prison for tax evasion, not his organized crime empire, and this rule reflects that legacy. Crime may not pay, but it definitely gets taxed. In a few American states, dueling is still technically legal, though as long as both parties consent and certain conditions are met. While these laws are rarely, if ever, used, they harken back to a time when matters of honor were settled with pistols or swords. In states like Kentucky and California, the laws are outdated but remain on the books. Some state officials are even required to swear they've never participated in a duel, a quirky oath rooted in historical drama. The United States doesn't just have one government, it has over 87,000 units of local government. This includes counties, cities, townships, school districts, and special districts with their own taxes and rules. The sheer number reflects America's emphasis on decentralized governance and local control. It means that many decisions, from library funding to road repairs, are made not in Washington, D.C., but by the people next door. It also explains why navigating bureaucracies in the US can feel like wandering a maze of mini-nations. The White House isn't just a residence or a seat of power. It's a fully functional mini-city. Hidden within its walls are amenities that go beyond what most might expect, including a dentist's office, a flower shop, and a bowling alley. These features were added over time to accommodate the president and staff, who spend long hours and sometimes days inside the complex. Whether fixing a toothache, arranging a state bouquet, or blowing off steam with a strike, the White House has everything a president might need, except maybe a drive-through. The United States holds the record for sending the most people into space, a testament to its early and ongoing leadership in space exploration. Since NASA's inception in 1958, hundreds of American astronauts have orbited Earth, walked on the Moon, and lived aboard space stations. From the Mercury and Apollo missions to the Space Shuttle program and the International Space Station, the US has made space travel an enduring national legacy. It's not just about rocket science, it's about pioneering the unknown. NASA actually owns a piece of the Moon, sort of. During the Apollo missions, astronauts collected hundreds of pounds of lunar rocks, soil, and dust, which were returned to Earth and are now considered US government property. These moon samples are stored and studied at NASA facilities and sometimes loaned to researchers or displayed in museums. Though no nation can legally own the Moon under international treaties, these samples are a small, tangible piece of celestial real estate held by America. American astronauts didn't just leave footprints on the Moon. They left behind an array of curious items including US flags, golf balls, and even family photos. Alan Shepard famously hit 2 golf balls during Apollo 14, while Charles Duke left a photograph of his family sealed in plastic. These personal touches, alongside scientific instruments and commemorative plaques, transform the Moon into a kind of extraterrestrial time capsule. It's a poetic reminder that wherever humans go, we bring a bit of ourselves with us. During the Cold War, the US Air Force explored the feasibility of building a nuclear-powered aeroplane, the idea as terrifying as it was ambitious. The program, known as the Aircraft Nuclear Propulsion Project, aimed to develop bombers that could stay airborne for days or even weeks without refueling. Engineers actually built and tested components, including reactors, but the plan was ultimately scrapped in the 1960s due to safety concerns and shifting military priorities. Still, it stands as one of the most extreme projects in aerospace history. The first woman to pilot a spacecraft solo was American astronaut Eileen Collins. In 1999, she commanded the Space Shuttle Columbia on mission STS-93, making history as the first female pilot to take full control of a spacecraft. Collins had already broken barriers as the first female shuttle pilot in 1995 and went on to command another mission in 2005. Her groundbreaking career opened doors for women in space exploration and marked a major milestone in NASA's evolving legacy of inclusion. Global Positioning System, GPS, is now embedded in our daily lives, from navigating road trips to tracking workouts, but it was originally created by the US military for precision bombing. Developed in the 1970s by the Department of Defense, GPS was designed to guide missiles with unprecedented accuracy. It wasn't until the 1000s, 980s and 90s that civilian access was expanded, transforming how people travel, communicate, and even farm. Today, it's hard to imagine a world without it. All thanks to a tool built for war. Among NASA's most unique job titles is that of Planetary Protection Officer. This real position involves safeguarding Earth from potential contamination by extraterrestrial microbes, and vice versa. Planetary protection officers ensure that missions to other planets, moons, and asteroids follow strict protocols to prevent biological contamination. It's a role that blends science, ethics, and interplanetary risk management, because if we do encounter alien life, or even alien bacteria, we'd probably want to avoid bringing it back home on an astronaut's boot. One of the 6 American flags planted on the Moon during the Apollo missions was famously manufactured by Sears. NASA didn't go to a high-tech defense contractor for the flags. Instead, they picked up commercially available nylon flags and simply modified them for spaceflight. The flag planted by Apollo 11 in 1969 was bought at a Sears store and attached to a telescoping pole so it would appear to wave in the windless vacuum of space. It's a beautifully mundane detail in a monumental human achievement. When NASA launched the Voyager spacecraft in 1977, they included a message for any intelligent life that might find it. a golden phonograph record known as the Voyager Golden Record. Among greetings in dozens of languages, whale songs and sounds from Earth, it also includes Chuck Berry's rock and roll hit Johnny B. Good. Carl Sagan, who helped curate the record, believed the song captured human creativity and spirit. So, if aliens ever discover Voyager, they'll meet Earth's best foot-tapping ambassador, Mr. Berry. Even while orbiting hundreds of miles above Earth, American astronauts don't miss Election Day. Thanks to a 1997 Texas law, since most astronauts live there, US citizens aboard the International Space Station can vote from space. A secure, encrypted ballot is sent from NASA to the astronaut, who casts their vote and transmits it back. It's a powerful reminder that civic duty doesn't stop at the stratosphere and that, even in zero gravity, democracy stays grounded. Yes, hell is a real town, and you'll find it in Michigan. Located about 15 miles northwest of Ann Arbor, this unincorporated community fully embraces its devilish name, with themed attractions like Hell Hole Diner, Scream's Ice Cream, and a post office where you can have your mail officially stamped from hell. Meaning so beautifully bright, and the phrase stuck. Today, hell is a tourist destination for the curious and the ironic, where you can buy souvenir property in the underworld, or at least claim you've been to hell and back. Centralia, Pennsylvania, is perhaps the most hauntingly fascinating town in America, because it's been on fire underground since 1962. A coal mine fire ignited beneath the town and has been smouldering ever since, rendering the ground unstable and spewing toxic gases. The fire could burn for another 250 years. Over time, most residents were relocated, buildings were razed, and the town was essentially abandoned. Today, Centralia is a ghost town, with just a handful of holdouts and eerily empty streets. The cracked, smoking highway and post-apocalyptic vibe even inspired the setting for the horror film Silent Hill. Intercourse and Blue Ball may sound like punchlines, but they're real towns in Pennsylvania, and yes, they're just as awkward to mention in casual conversation as you'd imagine. Located in Amish country, these towns draw steady streams of amused tourists snapping photos with the suggestive signs. Despite the giggles, their names are rooted in older English terms. Intercourse once meant social exchange, and Blue Ball came from a local inn marked by a blue ball sign. Today, both towns balance modesty with notoriety, capitalizing on their names while maintaining the charm of Pennsylvania Dutch tradition. Tucked off Interstate 70 in Garfield County, No Name, Colorado, is a town with a name that sounds like a riddle. Its unusual title stems from a bureaucratic hiccup during road construction in the 1960s. Officials labeled the exit No Name because the area hadn't yet been designated. The name stuck, and the town now proudly embraces it. With scenic mountain views, hiking trails, and a laid-back atmosphere, No Name proves that you don't need a fancy title to be memorable. For sometimes, the absence of a name becomes the most unforgettable name of all. The town of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, wasn't always called that. Originally named Hot Springs for its therapeutic geothermal baths, the town changed its name in 1950 after the popular radio quiz show Truth or Consequences offered to broadcast from any town willing to adopt the show's name. The town took the bait, and host Ralph Edwards followed through, launching an annual fiesta that continued for decades. While the show is long gone, the name remains, giving this desert community a unique place in pop culture and geography alike. Santa Claus, Indiana, lives up to its name in the most heartwarming way possible. Every December, the town receives thousands of letters addressed simply to Santa Claus, and a team of dedicated volunteers known as Santa's Elves reply to each one. The town boasts year-round Christmas cheer, complete with a Santa-themed amusement park, candy cane street signs, and a post office that offers a special holiday postmark. It's one of the few places in the world where the magic of Christmas is not just seasonal, it's permanent. Rachel, Nevada is a tiny desert town with a big obsession: UFOs. Located near the infamous Area 51, Rachel has become a hub for extraterrestrial enthusiasts, conspiracy theorists, and curious tourists. The town is home to the Little Aleon, get it, a quirky diner and motel covered in alien decor. Though Rachel has fewer than 100 residents, it draws global attention thanks to its proximity to alleged government secrets and countless UFO sightings reported in the surrounding skies. It's a must-visit for anyone hoping to spot a flying saucer, or at least buy an alien-shaped keychain. With a name like Bug Tussle, you'd expect something unusual, and you'd be right. Located in Alabama, this tiny rural community gets its name from a folktale claiming that bugs were once so thick during a local church meeting they caused a ruckus, or tussle. Whether fact or fiction, the name stuck and became part of local legend. Today, Bug Tussle embraces its offbeat moniker, even as it remains a quiet, pastoral dot on the map. It's the kind of place that makes you smile just by reading a road sign. Nothing, Arizona, might be the most honest town name in America. Located in the middle of nowhere off US Route 93, it was founded in 1977 and lived up to its name with a population of exactly 0. For years, a lone gas station and mini-mart made up the entire town, run by a few people who eventually moved on. The sign once read, "Through the years, these dedicated people had faith in nothing, hoped for nothing, worked at nothing, and for nothing." Today, Nothing is a quirky photo stop for road trippers drawn by its existential charm. Accident, Maryland wasn't named after a tragedy. It got its peculiar name through a literal surveying error. In the late 1000s, 700s, two land speculators accidentally chose the same plot of land at the same time, resulting in overlapping claims. The incident led to the town's curious name, which was eventually formalized. Far from a mistake, Accident has become a small but proud community that embraces its unexpected origin. Signs bearing its name draw plenty of double takes and selfies, proving that sometimes accidents lead to surprisingly delightful outcomes. The world's largest frying pan isn't in a kitchen, it's in Rose Hill, North Carolina, and it's big enough to cook breakfast for a small army. Measuring 15 feet in diameter and weighing over 2 tons, this giant skillet was built in the 1960s to promote the local poultry industry. Each year during the North Carolina Poultry Jubilee, it's actually fired up and used to fry hundreds of chickens at once. It's not just a massive cooking tool, it's a celebration of Southern flavor and small-town pride. You'll find a palace made of corn in Mitchell, South Dakota. Yes, an actual palace. The Corn Palace is a one-of-a-kind building decorated entirely with murals made from corn, grains and native grasses, refreshed annually in different themes. Originally built in the 1890s to showcase South Dakota's rich agricultural potential, the Corn Palace now serves as a venue for concerts, basketball games, and quirky tourism. It's part roadside oddity, part art installation, and all Midwestern charm. In Lauderhill, Florida, there's a giant ball of rubber bands that's gained fame as one of the largest in the world, weighing in at over 9,000 pounds and still growing. This rubbery monument started as a personal hobby and turned into a Guinness World Record contender. Visitors can't help but marvel at the sheer absurdity and dedication behind wrapping thousands upon thousands of bands into a colourful, bouncy orb. It's proof that even the most mundane office supply can become an epic roadside attraction. Cadillac Ranch, just outside Amarillo, Texas, is part public art piece, part automotive graveyard, and entirely iconic. Created in 1974 by a group of artists known as the Ant Farm, it features a line of classic Cadillacs buried nose down in the dirt at the same angle as the Great Pyramid of Giza. Visitors are encouraged to add their own spray-painted tags to the vehicles, turning the installation into a living, evolving work of graffiti-covered Americana. It's weird, bold, and unmistakably Texan. Nestled in the redwoods near Santa Cruz, the Mystery Spot is a legendary roadside attraction that claims to defy gravity and warp the laws of physics. Inside this tilted cabin, visitors appear to lean at impossible angles, and balls seem to roll uphill. While scientists chalk it up to optical illusions and slanted architecture, the attraction's charm lies in its playful mystery. Since 1940, it's left guests scratching their heads and doubting their senses, one crooked step at a time. In Seattle's quirky Post Alley, you'll find the infamous Gum Wall, a bizarre, sticky Technicolor landmark that's exactly what it sounds like. For decades, theatre-goers waiting in line began sticking used chewing gum to the brick wall, and the habit stuck, literally. Today, the wall is coated in several inches of gum, creating a vibrant and slightly gross mosaic. While it's been cleaned a few times, the tradition always returns. It's gross, it's art, and it's definitely a selfie hotspot for the brave. High in the Tennessee hills near Chattanooga stands a home that looks like it flew in from another galaxy. Known as the UFO House, this flying saucer-shaped building was designed in the 1970s as a futuro home, part of a short-lived movement to create modular, spaceship-style dwellings. With porthole windows and a door that opens like a hatch, it looks like the mothership landed early. Though originally built as a vacation home, it's become a roadside marvel and a favorite among alien enthusiasts and architecture buffs alike. Fanning, Missouri is home to what's claimed to be the world's largest rocking chair. A towering 42-foot-tall structure made of steel that looms over Route 66. Originally built as a promotional stunt for a local gift shop, the chair quickly drew attention and became a permanent monument to Americana absurdity. While you can't actually rock it, you can pose beneath it for photos and feel about the size of a mouse. It's kitsch at its finest and a must-see for road trippers. In Baker, California, you'll find the world's tallest thermometer, a towering tribute to the scorching heat of the Mojave Desert. Standing 134 feet tall, it commemorates the 134 DGF temperature recorded in nearby Death Valley in 1913, the hottest ever on Earth. Originally built in the 1990s as a roadside attraction, the thermometer is fully functional and lights up to display current temps. It's a beacon for desert travelers and a towering symbol of just how hot things can get in the American West. On an unassuming street in Houston, Texas, sits one of the strangest homes in America, the Beer Can House. Retired railroad worker John Milkovich spent over 18 years covering his house, yard and fence with more than 50,000 flattened beer cans. What started as a hobby turned into a shimmering, silvery tribute to recycling, DIY art, and pure Texan eccentricity. Now preserved as a museum, it attracts tourists from around the world, eager to witness this aluminium-clad marvel. The National Hollerin' Contest, held in Spivey's Corner, North Carolina, isn't just a showcase of loud voices. It's a celebration of an old-time rural communication method. Before phones, farmers in the South used a form of controlled yelling known as hollerin' to send messages across fields or call family home. Revived in the 1960s to preserve this fading tradition, the contest features categories like distress hollers, functional hollers, and expressive hollers. Contestants bellow with soul and swagger, drawing crowds and keeping this strange, shouty slice of Southern history alive. Each year in Montpelier, Vermont, a group of brave and uninhibited cyclists strip down and participate in the World Naked Bike Ride, joining a global movement meant to promote body positivity, protest oil dependency, and celebrate cycling. Riders don everything from full nudity to whimsical body paint as they pedal through town with cheers and laughter. Vermont's version of the event, often held in the summer, is as much a spectacle as it is a statement. Proof that sometimes the best way to make a point is to bear all. In Wisconsin, the cheerful sounds of accordions and stomping feet are officially honored with a legally recognized polka month. Every January, the state turns up the volume on its Eastern European musical roots, with polka dances, festivals, radio specials, and even classroom activities. Declared by the state legislature to celebrate a beloved folk tradition, Polka Month unites generations in a toe-tapping tribute to heritage and joy. It's not just about nostalgia, it's about preserving a rhythm that still moves Wisconsin's soul. Every year in Newry, Maine, couples take part in the fiercely funny Wife Carrying Championship, an event that draws crowds and contestants from across the country. Inspired by a Finnish tradition, the contest requires male participants to carry their female partners through a rigorous obstacle course featuring mud, water, and hurdles. The winning couple earns the wife's weight in beer and a cash prize equal to her weight in dollars. It's part sport, part circus, and 100% unforgettable. Beaver, Oklahoma hosts one of the most delightfully bizarre events in America, the world's largest cow chip throwing contest. In this unusual tradition, participants compete to see who can throw a dried piece of cow dung the farthest. What began as a quirky rural pastime has become an annual festival, complete with parades, pageants, and plenty of humour. The chips are carefully selected, sun-dried, and surprisingly aerodynamic. It's a celebration of prairie culture where the manure truly hits the mark. In the frozen expanses of Minnesota, winter doesn't stop outdoor fun. It amplifies it. Locals host ice fishing castle contests, where participants compete not only for the biggest catch, but also for the most elaborate ice shanty. These ice castles range from simple shelters to mini-homes equipped with TVs, stoves, and couches. Entire villages form on frozen lakes, creating temporary towns with food trucks, music, and camaraderie. It's a chilly, uniquely Minnesotan blend of survival skills and architectural pride. In Alaska, even going to the bathroom can become a sport, at least during the outhouse races held in Anchorage and other towns. Teams of 3 decorate outhouses mounted on skis or wheels and race them down a snowy course while one member sits inside. Costumes, themes, and competitive spirit are all part of the fun. It's a celebration of Alaskan resourcefulness, humor, and love of winter wackiness. After all, when the weather's cold, you might as well race a toilet. Montana's Testicle Festival, finally called Testy Festi, has long been a celebration of a very specific delicacy: deep-fried bull testicles, known locally as Rocky Mountain oysters. Held near Missoula, this raucous event combined food, music, beer, and plenty of rowdy fun, becoming a bucket list item for those seeking America's weirdest festivals. While the official event ended in recent years, its legacy lives on in pop culture and smaller testicle-themed celebrations. It's a bold blend of culinary curiosity and backcountry bravado. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, the end of summer is marked by the dramatic burning of Zozobra, a towering effigy also known as Old Man Gloom. Standing over 50 feet tall, Zozobra represents all the bad vibes, regrets, and worries of the past year. Residents write down their woes and stuff them into the puppet before it's set ablaze in a spectacular fiery ceremony. The tradition, dating back to 1924, is both cathartic and theatrical, turning personal darkness into public light. Each spring, Whigham, Georgia, plays host to the Rattlesnake Roundup, a unique event where locals and visitors gather to capture, display, and learn about rattlesnakes. While originally intended to control snake populations, the event has evolved into a mix of conservation education and southern spectacle. Attendees can watch snake handling demonstrations, try snake cuisine, and even compete in beauty pageants. Though controversial among animal rights groups, the roundup remains a deeply rooted rural tradition where slithering creatures take center stage. Harvard University, founded in 1636, is the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States. And yes, it predates the invention of the calculator by more than 300 years. When Harvard opened its doors, the concept of a digital calculator wasn't even a dream. Instead, students relied on quills, ink, and abacuses to complete complex math problems. The first true handheld calculator wouldn't appear until the 1970s. Harvard's longevity is a testament to how education evolves and how far we've come from chalk and slate. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, is so advanced it even has its own police department. The MIT Police are a fully functional law enforcement agency with patrol officers, detectives, and emergency response teams, just like a small city. Given the university's size, urban location in Cambridge, and the cutting-edge research happening on campus, having an in-house department ensures both safety and quick response times. They're also no strangers to student pranks, especially since MIT has a reputation for legendary hacks that sometimes require, shall we say, creative crowd control. The University of Virginia isn't just a top-ranked school, it's a national architectural treasure, designed by none other than Thomas Jefferson himself. Jefferson envisioned a place where the pursuit of knowledge would be as inspiring as the buildings that housed it. The iconic rotunda, modelled after the Roman Pantheon, stands at the heart of his academical village. There's a living, learning community that remains central to campus life today. Jefferson considered founding the university one of his greatest achievements, and it's even inscribed on his tombstone. The British Art on deck alongside the Declaration of Independence and the Virginia Statute for Religious Freedom. Stanford University owes its existence to the immense wealth of railroad tycoons Leland and Jane Stanford, who founded the school in 1885 in memory of their only son. Leland Stanford was a former governor of California and one of the Big Four investors behind the Central Pacific Railroad. With no tuition at first and a mission to serve the public good, Stanford was often referred to as the Harvard of the West. The university grew quickly, thanks in part to the fortune made by linking the coasts of America via steel tracks and steam engines. If you think college is all textbooks and midterms, think again. Some US universities now offer classes in Harry Potter studies. From analyzing the magical series through the lenses of philosophy, law, religion, and literature, to exploring its cultural impact, these courses invite students to dive into the wizarding world academically. Schools like Yale, UC Berkeley, and Georgetown have offered Harry Potter-themed seminars, proving that even a fantasy saga can become serious intellectual fodder. After all, where else can you get graded for discussing the ethics of Dumbledore? At Yale University, there's a long-standing and very cheeky tradition. During finals, students streak through the Sterling Memorial Library completely naked. Known as the Naked Run, it's both a stress reliever and a rite of passage. At precisely midnight, students charge through the library to the astonishment of their fully clothed, sleep-deprived peers. What began as an underground prank has become a celebrated, though unofficial, event, one that perfectly captures the blend of elite academia and youthful rebellion. Berea College in Kentucky stands out in the world of higher education by offering free tuition in exchange for work. Every full-time student is required to work at least 10 hours a week in roles ranging from janitorial duties to research assistants, campus gardening to office support. Founded in 1855, Berea was the first interracial and coeducational college in the South, and its mission has always focused on providing quality education to students with limited financial means. It's proof that college doesn't have to come with crushing debt, just a willingness to roll up your sleeves. Only at MIT could students take a prank and turn it into an engineering marvel. In 2012, a group of students created a fully playable Tetris game using the windows of a building. By rigging up a grid of lights on the side of MIT's Green Building, one of the tallest structures in Cambridge, they turned its entire facade into a gigantic video game screen. The feat combined programming, electronics, architectural planning, and pure geeky brilliance. It wasn't just a hack, it was a full-on pixelated masterpiece. At Princeton University, ghost stories are more than just campus legends. They're a subject of academic curiosity. The university houses a quirky but real Department of Ghost Lore, part of its broader folklore studies. Professors and students collect and analyze supernatural tales told by generations of students and faculty. From haunted dorm rooms to eerie tunnels under the campus, Princeton treats ghost stories as a valuable part of its cultural heritage. It's an Ivy League blend of the paranormal and the intellectual. Believe it or not, some US schools are built on top of former cemeteries, a fact that's both chilling and true. In many cases, especially in older cities, school buildings were erected before thorough surveys or after graveyards had been supposedly relocated. But every so often, construction crews or renovation projects turn up old bones, headstones, or even entire burial plots beneath classrooms and playgrounds. These spooky discoveries lead to excavations, delays, and sometimes a new appreciation for just how deep history runs, literally, beneath our feet. The tallest mountain in the United States is Denali, located in Alaska, which soars to an elevation of 20,310 feet, 6,190 meters above sea level. Formerly known as Mount McKinley, Denali means the high one in the native Koyukon Athabaskan language. It dominates the landscape of Denali National Park and is one of the most awe-inspiring natural wonders in North America. Climbing it is considered one of the most challenging alpine feats in the world, thanks to its extreme weather, steep ascent, and remote location. It's the rooftop of America, cold, majestic, and nearly unreachable for most. The lowest point in the United States lies in Badwater Basin, nestled in California's Death Valley National Park. At 282 feet below sea level, it is the lowest elevation you can stand on in North America. Despite the name, Badwater is stunning in its starkness. Its salt flats stretch out like a cracked white desert floor, shimmering under the heat. Temperatures here routinely top 120 DGF, making it not only the lowest, but also one of the hottest, driest, and most surreal landscapes on the planet. It's like standing on the floor of a prehistoric ocean, long since evaporated. The United States is home to more billionaires than any other country in the world, with well over 700 billionaires as of recent estimates. America's ultra-wealthy class includes tech moguls, media magnates, financiers, and entrepreneurs. Silicon Valley, New York City, and even small towns like Medina, Washington, home to Bill Gates, are billionaire hotspots. These individuals not only shape the economy, but also wield massive influence in global philanthropy, politics, and innovation. The American dream may not guarantee wealth, but it has produced more billionaires than anywhere else on Earth. Beneath the hills of Kentucky lies a subterranean world that holds a massive record, Mammoth Cave, the longest cave system on Earth. With more than 426 miles of surveyed passageways and new sections still being discovered, it lives up to its name. Designated a national park and UNESCO World Heritage Site, Mammoth Cave has fascinated explorers, scientists, and tourists for generations. Inside you'll find enormous caverns, underground rivers, eerie rock formations, and ancient Native American artifacts. It's not just a hole in the ground, it's a winding, hidden continent. The Pentagon, located in Arlington, Virginia, is not only the US Department of Defense's headquarters, it's also the largest office building in the world. Covering 6.5 million square feet of space with 17.5 miles of corridors, the Pentagon houses over 20,000 military and civilian personnel. Its distinctive five-sided design was chosen to fit the irregular plot of land initially selected for construction. Though the building has since moved sites, the shape stayed. Despite its size, thanks to smart layout, it's said you can walk from any point to another in under 10 minutes. Despite having just 5% of the world's population, the United States holds the title for the largest prison population on the planet. Over 2 million people are incarcerated in US jails and prisons, a staggering figure that has long sparked debates about justice reform, mass incarceration, and racial inequality. With the rise of private prisons and mandatory sentencing laws, America's prison system has become one of the most scrutinized institutions in the country, representing both systemic issues and the ongoing push for change. The United States is also home to the world's most powerful supercomputer, a technological marvel that pushes the limits of speed and calculation. As of the latest rankings, Frontier, located at Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee, holds the top spot. Capable of performing more than 1 quintillion 10 to the power of 18 operations per second, this exascale machine is used for everything from climate modeling and nuclear research to drug discovery and quantum simulation. It's not just a computer, it's a brain the size of a building, built to solve the unsolvable. Tucked between two waterfalls in Montana lies the Roe River, which holds the Guinness World Record for the shortest river in the world. Measuring just 201 feet in length, it flows between Giant Springs and the Missouri River near Great Falls. Despite its tiny size, the Roe River has gained outsized fame thanks to a successful campaign by local students in the 1980s to have it recognized. It's a reminder that even the smallest streams can make a big splash in the record books. When it comes to speed, no manned aircraft has ever surpassed the X-15, an experimental rocket-powered plane developed by NASA and the US Air Force in the 1960s. The North American X-15 reached speeds of 4,520 miles per hour, Mach 6.7, and altitudes above 50 miles, skimming the edge of space. Pilots wore spacesuits and experienced weightlessness, and several of them, including Neil Armstrong, went on to become astronauts. It wasn't just a plane, it was a flying rocket, blazing a trail for future space missions. Topping the list of the busiest airports in the world is Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport in Georgia. Handling over 100 million passengers a year, ATL serves as a massive hub for domestic and international travel. With flights connecting every major US city and dozens of countries worldwide, it's the heartbeat of America's air network. Despite its staggering size and traffic, the airport is known for its efficiency and its signature art installations, walkable terminals, and even a full-service therapy dog team. Despite what most people think, US currency is not made of paper. It's actually made from a durable blend of 75% cotton and 25% linen. This special fabric gives bills their distinct feel and allows them to survive rough handling, laundering mishaps, and even being buried in wallets for years. Tiny red and blue fibers are woven into the material to deter counterfeiting. It's this textile construction, not typical wood pulp paper, print, that makes US money tough enough to circulate through thousands of hands. In the 1930s, the United States printed a $100,000 bill, but you'll never find it in your wallet. It was created strictly for internal bank transactions. Featuring a portrait of Woodrow Wilson, this massive denomination was never circulated among the public and was used only for large gold settlements between Federal Reserve banks. While no longer in use, these bills still exist in government archives and are among the rarest pieces of currency ever produced. They're a staggering reminder of how large the numbers can get behind the scenes of banking. Though it might not seem like it when you reach for a 5, the $100 bill accounts for nearly 80% of all US currency in circulation by value. Thanks to its high denomination, the Ben Franklin bill is heavily used in global financial systems, international reserves, and large cash transactions, especially outside the US. In fact, a significant portion of these bills circulate overseas, where they're seen as a stable store of value. It's a modern-day gold standard, printed in green. Believe it or not, spelling errors on US coins sometimes slip through quality control, and when they do, they can become priceless collectibles. Misprints such as a misspelled state name or reversed letters turn ordinary change into high-value treasures for numismatists, coin collectors. One infamous example is the 2004 Wisconsin quarter that featured an extra leaf on a piece of corn. These flaws, though accidental, add charm and rarity, and turn tiny metallic mistakes into big financial opportunities. The US Mint operates out of 4 primary locations: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and West Point. Each facility has its own specialty. DFF and Denver handle most of the nation's coin production, while San Francisco focuses on proof coins for collectors. West Point, originally an Army facility, now stores bullion and mints gold, silver, and platinum coins. Every coin minted carries a tiny letter marking its origin, P, D, S, or W, letting you trace where your spare change was born. It may sound ridiculous, but it costs more than a penny to make a penny. As of recent reports, the cost to produce 1 cent is around 2.5 cents due to the price of materials and manufacturing. This imbalance has sparked repeated debates in Congress about whether to eliminate the penny altogether. Still, the humble coin persists, largely due to tradition, public resistance to price rounding, and lobbying from industries that benefit from its continued existence. The US Secret Service is best known today for protecting the president, but that wasn't its original mission. When it was founded in 1865, its primary role was to combat counterfeiting, which was a major issue following the Civil War. Up to 1/3 of US currency in circulation was fake. It wasn't until the assassination of President William McKinley in 1901 that the agency's duties expanded to include protection. Its original roots, though, are steeped in the protection of the dollar, not the commander-in-chief. Each year, there's more monopoly money printed than real US currency. Hasbro, the maker of the iconic board game, prints around $30 billion in monopoly money annually, far surpassing the output of the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. While obviously not legal tender, monopoly money still circulates widely in living rooms, game nights, and family feuds. It's a humorous reminder of how deeply play and finance are intertwined in American culture, where even fake money has a big presence. US. Credit card debt has surpassed $1 trillion, a staggering milestone that reflects both consumer confidence and financial stress. With cards being used for everything from coffee to emergency expenses, the average American household now carries thousands of dollars in revolving credit. While convenient, this level of debt poses long-term financial risks and reflects a culture heavily reliant on borrowing. It's a financial balancing act that combines economic freedom with the lurking danger of compounding interest. The New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, now a symbol of American capitalism, is actually older than the Statue of Liberty. It was founded in 1792 when 24 brokers signed the Buttonwood Agreement on Wall Street to establish formal securities trading. That's nearly a century before Lady Liberty arrived from France in 1886. Over time, the NYSE has grown into the world's largest stock exchange by market capitalization, making it a cornerstone of global finance long before Ellis Island ever welcomed its first immigrant. The iconic Hollywood sign once had a very different look and purpose. Erected in 1923, it originally read Hollywoodland and was built as a temporary advertisement for a new housing development in the Hollywood Hills. Each letter stood 30 feet wide and 50 feet tall, and the sign was illuminated by thousands of light bulbs. Over time, it fell into disrepair, and in 1949 the city removed land, leaving just Hollywood, as a tribute to the film industry. What started as real estate marketing became one of the most recognizable cultural landmarks on Earth. The first television commercial in the United States aired on July 1, 1941, during a Brooklyn Dodgers-Philadelphia Phillies baseball game. It was a 10-second ad for Bulova watches, and it cost just $9 to air. The screen displayed a simple image of a clock over a map of the US with the slogan, "America runs on Bulova time." That humble black-and-white commercial marked the beginning of a billion-dollar industry and the start of America's long love affair with televised advertising. The king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, is famous for his slick black pompadour, but few know that he was actually born with naturally blonde hair. As a teenager, Elvis began dyeing his hair black to achieve the rebellious, sultry look he became known for. He reportedly continued to dye it himself throughout his life, using shoe polish in a pinch. The dark hair became such a central part of his image that few ever suspected it was a stylistic illusion. The beloved red cardigans worn by Mr. Rogers weren't just a costume, they were lovingly hand-knit by his mother. Fred Rogers, host of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, often said he wore the sweaters as a reminder of her love and care. Each cardigan became an emblem of his warmth, consistency, and kindness. One of his iconic sweaters even resides in the Smithsonian, a soft and gentle symbol of the comfort he brought to generations of children across America. Yes, there's a real clown hall of fame, and you'll find it in Delavan, Wisconsin, not Indiana, though Indiana is home to the International Circus Hall of Fame. The Clown Hall of Fame honors the colorful world of clowning, celebrating performers from circus legends to modern entertainers. Visitors can view costumes, props, and exhibits that explore the history and evolution of this unique performance art. From slapstick icons to heartfelt performers, the hall is a joyful, if slightly eerie, tribute to the art of the laugh. You may know her as Barbie, but her full name is actually Barbara Millicent Roberts, and yes, she's American. Created by Ruth Handler and launched by Mattel in 1959, Barbie was named after Handler's daughter, Barbara. Since her debut, Barbie has had over 200 careers, from astronaut to president, and remains a cultural lightning rod for debates around fashion, femininity, and empowerment. Though a plastic doll, Barbie represents a constantly evolving vision of what a woman can be, or be imagined to be, in America. Since its premiere in 1989, The Simpsons has become the longest-running American scripted primetime television series. What began as a simple animated sketch on The Tracey Ullman Show turned into a cultural juggernaut, with over 750 episodes and counting. The show has predicted real-world events, parodied nearly everything in existence, and created one of the most recognizable families on the planet. It's not just a cartoon, it's a lens into American culture, satire, and suburban absurdity that's lasted for generations. The first video game tournament in history took place at Stanford University in 1972, long before esports was even a concept. The game, Space War, one of the earliest digital video games created in the 1960s. The prize was a year's subscription to Rolling Stone magazine, and the event drew a crowd of curious tech enthusiasts. That humble competition helped kick off a now multi-billion-dollar gaming industry, laying the groundwork for everything from Twitch streams to World Championship arenas. The Library of Congress doesn't just store books, it's one of the most comprehensive digital archives in the world, including a collection of every public tweet ever sent. Through partnerships with Twitter, the library aimed to preserve tweets as part of the American historical record, recognizing their value as modern forms of communication and social commentary. While the effort to archive every tweet in real time was eventually scaled back, the archive still holds billions of tweets, offering future researchers a digital time capsule of the 21st century. It's one of the great ironies of entertainment history. Walt Disney, the creator of the world's most famous mouse, was afraid of real mice. Though he brought Mickey Mouse to life with charm and cheer, Walt reportedly had a strong dislike of the actual creatures, finding them unsettling. His anthropomorphic vision of a friendly, funny mouse was likely more about storytelling and brand potential than any personal affection. Sometimes the things we fear become the most powerful parts of our imagination. The US interstate highway system is the largest in the world, stretching over 48,000 miles across all 50 states. Initiated under President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1956, this monumental network of roads was inspired by the efficiency of Germany's Autobahn and designed for defense as well as commerce. It connects cities, coasts, and borders, reshaping American travel and economic growth. Whether you're commuting, trucking goods, or planning a coast-to-coast road trip, chances are you're using a piece of this sprawling concrete web. Some US highways are so mind-numbingly straight and flat they've become notorious for lulling drivers to sleep. Highway 46 in Nevada being one of the most infamous. Stretching across open desert with little variation in scenery or turns, these roads offer no visual stimulation for long stretches, making driver fatigue a serious danger. Nicknamed Hypnotic highways, they challenge focus like no winding mountain pass ever could. It's a surreal experience. You can drive for hours without ever touching the steering wheel, until of course it's too late. Route 66, affectionately known as the Mother Road, was one of the first national highways in America. Commissioned in 1926, it ran from Chicago to Santa Monica, spanning 2,448 miles. The route became a symbol of freedom and mobility, especially during the Dust Bowl migration and post-war boom. Immortalized in the song Get Your Kicks On, Route 66, and a hit TV show in the 1960s, it captured the spirit of the open road. Though it was officially decommissioned in 1985, parts of it remain drivable today as a nostalgic American pilgrimage. Alaska's Dalton Highway, also known as Route 11, is often cited as the most dangerous road in America. Stretching 414 miles from Fairbanks to Deadhorse near the Arctic Ocean, it's primarily a supply route for the oil fields, and it's not for the faint of heart. With remote, icy stretches, steep grades, and few service stations or guardrails, it challenges even seasoned drivers. Add in unpredictable weather, large trucks, and a lack of cell service, and you've got a road where a flat tire could become a life-threatening situation. Despite its name, the Golden Gate Bridge isn't gold at all. It's painted in a striking color called International Orange. The bright reddish-orange hue was chosen for visibility in San Francisco's frequent fog and for its aesthetic harmony with the surrounding landscape. Built during the Great Depression and completed in 1937, the bridge spans 1.7 miles and remains one of the most photographed and walked bridges in the world. Its color might not match its name, but it's part of what makes the bridge so iconic. Before stop signs became a traffic staple, some US cities actually installed traffic lights first. In the early 20th century, rapidly growing cities like Detroit and Cleveland began experimenting with light-based signals to direct the increasing number of cars, while stop signs were still just painted boards or handwritten signs. Standardized stop signs with the now familiar red octagon design didn't become official until 1954, so for a while, drivers had to decipher glowing lights before they ever saw a clear stop. In August 2010, California experienced one of the longest traffic jams in US history. A 12-hour gridlock involving over 60 miles of Interstate 405 near Los Angeles. Dubbed Carmageddon, the jam was caused by construction closures and affected hundreds of thousands of drivers. Helicopter footage showed rivers of brake lights stretching for miles. And while it wasn't the longest jam ever, that record belongs to China, it became a legendary symbol of LA's notorious traffic woes and America's car-centric culture. The longest road tunnel in the United States is Boston's Ted Williams Tunnel, stretching just over 3 miles under Boston Harbor, part of the Big Dig, a massive and controversial infrastructure project that the tunnel connects downtown Boston with Logan International Airport. Though plagued by delays and budget overruns, the tunnel ultimately eased congestion in the city and added a high-tech feat of engineering beneath the harbor. It's a smooth, seamless drive now, but it took decades to dig, design, and perfect. The New York City subway system has 472 stations, making it the largest and most complex subway system in the world by number of stops. Operating 24 hours a day, it carries over 5 million riders daily under normal conditions. From iconic art installations to mysterious abandoned platforms, it's more than just public transit center. It's a subterranean city unto itself. With its intricate spiderweb of lines, delays, and unique characters, it's as much a part of New York's identity as bagels and yellow taxis. Americans drive more than 3 trillion miles a year. That's enough to travel from Earth to Pluto and back over 300 times. This staggering mileage comes from commuting, road trips, shipping, and everyday errands, all made possible by the extensive highway and road networks across the country. Whether in a compact car, pickup truck, or 18-wheeler, Americans spend a significant portion of their lives behind the wheel. It's a figure that underscores just how deeply the automobile is woven into the fabric of American life. The United States is home to more immigrants than any other country in the world, with more than 45 million foreign-born residents. That's about 13% of the total population. People from nearly every country on Earth have settled in the US, drawn by opportunities, freedom, or refuge. From cultural neighborhoods in major cities to rural communities reshaped by new arrivals, immigration has deeply influenced everything from food and music to politics and innovation. It's one of the most defining features of the American identity, a nation shaped by movement and diversity. If you've ever ordered a Big Mac or a side of fries in the US, chances are the person who handed it to you was part of a shared American experience. 1 in every 8 Americans has worked at McDonald's. It's a staggering statistic that reflects how deeply the fast food giant is woven into the American labor force, especially as a first job for teens. Beyond burgers, McDonald's has become an unlikely career launchpad for millions, teaching lessons in customer service, work ethic, and, yes, how to operate an ice cream machine when it's not mysteriously broken. When it comes to heritage, German ancestry tops the list in the United States. More than 40 million Americans identify with German roots, making it the largest self-reported ethnic group in the country. Waves of German immigrants arrived in the 19th and early 20th centuries, settling in the Midwest and contributing to American culture through food, farming, brewing, and even holiday traditions like the Christmas. Their influence is so strong that cities like Milwaukee and Cincinnati still celebrate Oktoberfest with unmatched enthusiasm. There are more Americans who claim Irish ancestry than there are people in Ireland, over 30 million, compared to Ireland's population of about 5 million. This stems largely from waves of Irish immigration during the 19th century, particularly during the Great Famine. Irish Americans have had a lasting impact on American society, from politics, JFK, to literature and labor movements. Each year, cities across the US celebrate this heritage with massive St. Patrick's Day parades, green beer, and a whole lot of shamrocks. Approximately 40% of US presidents have been either left-handed or ambidextrous, which is significantly higher than the general population rate of 10%. This includes leaders like Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and Ronald Reagan. While some say left-hand people are more creative or analytical, there's no confirmed reason for this pattern. Still, it adds an interesting twist to presidential trivia. Maybe there's something about the left hand that gives you a right shot at the Oval Office. Surprisingly, there is no federal law requiring a US president to have a college degree, and not all have had one. While most modern presidents have attended prestigious universities, early leaders like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln never earned college diplomas. The US Constitution only requires that presidents be at least 35 years old, natural-born citizens, and residents of the US for at least 14 years. That means, theoretically, anyone who meets those criteria, degree or not, can lead the nation. The average American moves more than 11 times in their lifetime, making the US one of the most mobile populations in the world. This constant relocation is driven by everything from job changes and housing costs to education and family needs. Whether it's a short hop across town or a cross-country adventure, moving is a deeply embedded part of the American experience. As a result, industries like real estate, moving services, and self-directed real estate thrive, and Americans become experts in cardboard box stacking. A surprising and sobering statistic: 1 in every 3 Americans has been arrested by the age of 23. This includes a wide range of offences, many of which are non-violent or minor infractions. The figure reflects the high rate of policing and criminalization in the US, particularly among young people. It has sparked ongoing debates about juvenile justice reform, racial disparities in arrests, and the long-term impact of a criminal record on education, employment, and housing opportunities. The most common birthday in the United States is September 9, followed closely by several other dates in early to mid-September. This surge in births aligns perfectly with the December holiday season, 9 months prior. Whether it's the magic of Christmas lights, winter snuggles, or New Year's resolutions, something about the colder months leads to a baby boom the following September. Hospitals prepare for it, and statistically, you're more likely to meet a fellow Virgo in a crowd than any other sign. On the flip side, the least common birthday in the US is December 25, Christmas Day. Many scheduled deliveries like C-sections are planned around the holiday, and spontaneous births on this day are relatively rare. Parents and doctors often avoid the date to keep birthdays from being overshadowed by Christmas celebrations. Other low-ranking birthdays include January 1 and July 4 for similar reasons. So, if you're a Christmas baby, you're part of a very small but festive club. Let's revisit one of the strangest laws still on the books. In Arizona, it's illegal for a donkey to sleep in a bathtub. This bizarre legislation stems from a real event in the 1920s, when a donkey in the town of Kingman regularly slept in a bathtub left in a gulch. One day, a flash flood swept both the donkey and the bathtub several miles away, prompting a dangerous rescue effort. Lawmakers decided it was best to prevent such situations altogether, by banning sleepy burros in bathtubs. The law remains today, a relic of rural logic and desert oddity. If you stop at a gas station in Oregon, don't bother getting out to pump your fuel. It's illegal to pump your own gas in most urban areas. This long-standing law, originally enacted in 1951, was designed to ensure safety, prevent gas spills, and provide jobs. Only certain rural counties have relaxed the rule. Oregon and New Jersey are the only states with such laws, making self-service a novelty rather than a norm. For many visitors, it's a strange and charming throwback to a time when service stations truly offered. In New Jersey, it's illegal to wear a bulletproof vest while committing a crime. A law that's oddly specific, yet surprisingly practical. The statute doesn't just punish the crime itself, but tacks on additional penalties for using body armor during the offense. It's meant to discourage violent confrontations with law enforcement and protect public safety. While it's unlikely many criminals are reading the fine print of state law books, the rule is just one example of the hyper-targeted nature of modern criminal codes. Believe it or not, there are more plastic pink flamingos in the US than real ones. The lawn ornament, first created in 1957 by artist Don Featherstone, has become a kitschy symbol of suburbia and vacation vibes. While real flamingos are relatively rare in the wild US, mostly seen in Florida or visiting from the Caribbean, their plastic counterparts can be found in front yards from coast to coast. Whether used ironically or enthusiastically, these flocks of fake flamingos have officially outnumbered the real birds they mimic. US national parks are protected not only by rangers, but by their very own police force, the United States Park Police. One of the oldest uniformed federal law enforcement agencies in the country, they were established in 1791 and operate primarily in Washington, D.C., New York City, and San Francisco. Beyond crowd control and park protection, they handle everything from missing hikers to major crimes on federal land. Think of them as nature's lawmen, protecting not just landscapes but the people who explore them. In Las Vegas, you can buy almost anything, including gold bars from a vending machine. Found in upscale casinos and hotels, these futuristic machines, gathered on imported from Europe, dispense real, certified gold in weights ranging from small coins to full-ounce bars. The prices fluctuate in real time based on market value. It's Vegas excess at its finest, a place where you can hit the jackpot, grab a milkshake, and then buy, all in the same lobby. Some US prisons allow inmates to keep pets, particularly in lower servitude or rehabilitation-focused facilities. These programs pair incarcerated individuals with animals, often cats, dogs, or even birds, giving inmates responsibility, companionship, and emotional support. In many cases, these pets are part of larger rehabilitation efforts, including service dog training or shelter partnerships. The results are profound: reduced violence, improved mental health, and a rare sense of normalcy behind bars. It's one of the more humane and hopeful initiatives in the American corrections system. In one of the strangest Cold War experiments, the CIA tried to use cats as spies under a secret project called Acoustic Kitty. The plan? Surgically implant microphones and antennas into cats, then train them to eavesdrop on Soviet conversations. The results were predictably chaotic. Cats don't follow instructions, and the first test cat reportedly ran into traffic moments after deployment. The project was scrapped, but its absurdity lives on as a symbol of just how desperate and imaginative spycraft can get. US mail has been delivered in almost every way imaginable, by mule, boat, sled, train, motorcycle, and even rocket. That's right, in 1959, the US attempted a rocket mail experiment, where a missile carrying letters was fired from a submarine to a naval base in Florida. Though it was deemed technically successful, the method was wildly impractical and never used again. Still, it highlights the extremes the Postal Service has explored to maintain delivery routes in the most remote or challenging conditions. If you find yourself in Hawaii with a coconut, you can legally mail it without a box. Just slap on some postage and an address. It's a long-standing tradition, especially on the island of Molokai, where tourists decorate coconuts like postcards and send them through the mail, exposed for all to see. The Postal Service treats them like any other parcel, and they often arrive with surprisingly little damage. It's a fun, eco-friendly, and utterly tropical way to send a message from paradise.